Welcome to the Crowned Medium, where Her Highness Lorenda Carr delivers intuitive clarity, messages from Spirit, and tools to elevate your spiritual journey.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? We are here live with the Crowned Medium today. We're on all the channels, so make sure you guys are following. Hello over in TikTok world. If see the notes here, see the notes. Yeah. So we're on all the platforms, but you're only going to be able to see my guest on the other platforms. All right. But you can hear her just fine here. So Reverend Susan Hill is in the house today. How are you? How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, I am so excited to have you on. It's such an honor to have you here because your journey is so fascinating to me. All the different things you do and how much we have in common, which is interesting. And with our theater and dance background, well, your upcoming dance background, which I cannot wait to talk about, and all the things. And we have served Spirit together on the platform before, and I'm telling you, I love to share your energy. I absolutely love to share your energy. I've taken we took aura. Well, I took aura class from you at week long. Whoo, so many things.
So all of the things.
All the things. So I'm going to say good morning to TikTok. Hi, Jen. How's everybody doing? So make sure you guys are doing the tappy thing. You know the drill over in the TikTok world. And just know that I'm over in all the things over there. Same name. Okay. All right. So Susan.
Yes. Lorenda.
I'm just so excited. Okay. So let's talk about you. That's really what we're here to talk about today, and how you serve Spirit, but also how in the multiple facets, because you do so many things. And I think you really inspire me this way, because as a dance teacher, I'm serious, as a dance teacher and artist, I find that I can't just say, oh, I'm a dance teacher over here and I do spirit work over here. So often everything blends together, which I guess is the epitome.
I think that's how it's supposed to be.
I think you might be onto something with that.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And just living a spiritual life in general, just incorporating spirit however we possibly can to inspire others. What I'd love to ask you, just to kind of start off the bat, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, like how you got to be on your spiritual journey? Just tell us. I want to know everything.
Okay, just the stuff.
Okay,
so when I was in about the 6th or 7th grade, about frankly 1967, my best friend and I discovered Ruth Montgomery and Jean Dixon, which was the only kind of any kind of I don't want to say paranormal, but spiritual kind of stuff. And mainly they wrote about reincarnation. Okay. So we read all of that and we were just really into it. And then when I was in high school, I got a book called Linda Goodman's Sun Signs, which everyone should have in their library, because she breaks down each sign and she talks about like the Virgo man, the Virgo woman, the Virgo child, the Virgo boss. So whenever we liked a boy, we would look up his sun sign and then try to act the way that Linda Goodman told us to. And needless to say, that was not particularly successful, but it was really my first introduction to astrology.
Okay.
And I've always been interested in ghosts and hauntings and all of those kind of things, not knowing that there was really anything more than that. So then I go to college and I'm a theater major, which is not the wisest if you're going to have a career, not theater. Anyway, but then life moves on. I get married, have my 2 beautiful daughters, and then I get a divorce, which is always a game changer. So when I got my divorce, I had remembered reading a couple of years ago about Camp Chesterfield. There was a big thing in the Indianapolis Star.
Okay.
And it was long enough ago that I read it that I couldn't remember the name of it or anything. I just knew it was near Anderson.
Okay.
And this back in the day before the internet when we could look anything up. So I'm at my job and we have an atlas. So I open the atlas, seeing if there's something that will jog my memory. And on that atlas, it said Indiana Association of Spiritualists. There's your first one, right?
Whoa. Okay.
So I call the Anderson Chamber of Commerce to get the phone number for Camp Chesterfield. And the woman says to me, well, I don't know what they do there, but here's the number.
Oh.
So,
judgy much?
Yeah, I called the office and talked to it, who I found out later was Louise Mosteller. And I told her, or Lois Mosteller, and I told her that. And she says, oh, you need to come here. Just come across on 32 and turn left at the Pizza King.
But now we would say, wait, which Pizza King? On 32?
Yeah. Anyway, so my best friend from high school and I came up to camp on Labor Day, and we got way lost because if you can't go straight across 32 into Anderson, and we were so busy talking that we didn't even pay any attention. But anyway, we found camp. Woo! Labor Day. Woo! Dead as a doornail.
Right.
Nobody.
Nothing going on.
Nobody out. Leaves, tumbleweeds blowing across. Nobody was there.
Right.
So we went into the Book Nook, which is where the bookstore used to be in the Arc building. And we went in there and we poked around and then we walked around and realized that we needed to sign up for a reading.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked around and looked at all the houses. And so I picked the house that I liked and got the number for that medium, which was Phyllis Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't.
Pat Kennedy?
No, it wasn't Pat.
No.
It was Phyllis. Oh, when you get old, you can't remember anything. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me in a minute.
Right.
So because I liked her house, it's the brick house that who I forget who lives there now. Susan, maybe Terry. Geez, all the names are going out of my head. Anyway, it's the brick house next to the labyrinth.
I know. Yes.
Yes. Terry
Hanks.
Terry Hanks. There we go.
I know this. I went.
Yeah,
ding,
okay.
ding, ding, ding.
So, and then so my friend lives over near Terre Haute, so she couldn't come back up and go. So I go up for my reading with Phyllis, and so I'd only had one reading before.
And that was my next question. Had you ever had a reading before?
One, and I was scared to death. I didn't know. I had gone over to visit my mother, and in Terre Haute at the fairgrounds, they had a psychic fair. So that's when I called my friend. I said, let's go do this. So that was my first reading ever. And so after that, then we get up to camp, and I get up there and she's doing this reading, and this guy came through that I only slightly knew. He was a better friend of my sister's, and I said to her, why would he come to me? And she goes, oh, honey, they'll get through to whoever they can. So that was my introduction to that. And then I started going up there and finally got the courage to call a development teacher. And so I called Reverend Suzanne Greer, and she had just, she'll kill me because she's in spirit now, but she may come back down and just strike me dead right here. She just had a facelift. So it was a few weeks.
People are watching.
Before.
It's fine.
So,
it's fine.
yeah. So I go to this development class for the first time, and everybody's, you know how they are. Now everybody's standing up and giving their little 3 messages, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to have to do anything. This is my first time here. And Suzanne looks at me and she goes, stand up.
Oh.
And I said, I don't know how to do this. And she said, I'll help you. And she did.
Oh, I love that. I've heard such amazing things about her, and from you as well as others. And so I'm glad that you're talking about her, because actually
she was.
That's
she
amazing.
Was something. She was something else. And anyway, so then that same week I go to my first class. They have a fire walk at camp, and I did a fire walk, and I did not get burned. So I'm never doing another one.
Talk about trial by fire.
Yeah. So I'm never doing it again. I did it once. I didn't get burned. I'm not risking it. So that was how I got to camp, especially like after a divorce, when you're sick and tired of being the way you are.
Yes.
And then you start looking. I didn't even know spiritualism was a religion. I didn't know anything about it until I started going to camp. And now I'm all over it.
Now you're a full-blown reverend and everything.
Isn't that a surprise? When I was getting ordained, my husband was my sponsor, and I'm standing there with my little unlit candle, and I turned to him and said, what the hell am I doing? But
do you still ask yourself that sometimes?
Yeah. I was already dressed up and had a candle, so I went ahead and did it.
We're already here. I guess we'll just do it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm here. I got the outfit. I got the shoes. I'll go ahead.
So now looking back when you were ordained, is it very different than now? Like, so for people going through that process at Camp Chesterfield now, is it very different? Was it very different then than it is now?
I don't think so. They've added some other things, like the spiritual seeker. When I was coming through, it was just a medium missionary, associate, minister, and minister. It was just those 3 tracks. Okay. And now they have a lot more tracks, which I think is a good thing.
I think so too, because it gives people a lot of options to kind of to fit into to where they feel they belong, if that makes sense.
Yes, because not everybody wants to be ordained. And when I was coming through, that was the big question always. When you're being ordained, when are you being ordained? Well, there was like this expectation that that's what you were going to do. Right. And if you didn't do that, then why are you here? Which is ridiculous.
That's kind of like in dance. It's kind of like in dance class.
Julie Fioresci had her medium missionary papers and refused to go any further. She said, I don't want to be a minister. She lived in the stone house next to the cathedral. And she's like, I don't want to go any farther. This is it. And so I think that they have all of these different options now for people is wonderful. Not everyone is called to be ordained. And that doesn't mean they don't have a ministry, because they do. And and unfortunately, let me get up on my soapbox a minute.
Oh, sure, let me help you. Hold on.
Yeah. I have seen people be ordained because they think it looks good on their business card. And that annoys me. Now, there are some people who live in places where there are not churches that they can serve. Mm-hmm. But there are plenty of ordained spiritualists who never serve at a church. Indianapolis has 3. Progressive Spiritualist Church, which is my church. Right. Psychic Science, which is downtown.
I've been to that one. Mm-hmm.
And it's the First Spiritualist Church of Indianapolis. Although they weren't the first.
I've not been.
And they lost their building, so I think they're meeting in somebody's home now. But anyway, they're still going on. And our church, Progressive Spiritualist Church, is the oldest one in Indianapolis. We were founded in 1913. and we're still going on.
Wow. That's
Yes.
amazing.
54th and Keystone. We're at 54th and Keystone, across from the Mississippi Bell.
Yes, y'all get that? 54th and Keystone.
If you haven't been to the Mississippi Bell, you need to go there. Take cash. They don't take anything but cash. The best soul food you ever had.
Really? I've never been
there. You need to go. Okay.
Now I got missions to accomplish is what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured that's something I need to do this summer is get out into the wild and experience, because I've been to psychic science and I have been to the other one. What's maybe it is the 54th or 56th and Keystone, because Sandy Ruther came and she had to do two sermons. So I just followed her around like a lost dog a couple of times.
Oh.
So I have been to that one, close to Keystone, and they were a nice bunch too.
We are a nice bunch. We have a really good time. We think church should be fun.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be.
So sometimes the congregation heckles you. It's,
It's true.
But they're very fun. It's very fun. And we also are on Zoom. And on Facebook Live. So we have services at 10:30 on Sunday morning. Because we like to get our church over with, so we can get on with our day.
Right.
And we always bring food because we use that as bait. If you come to church, there will be food. And so we always have food after. So you've gone to church, you've gotten all holy, you've got your belly full. Now you can just go on with the rest of your Sunday.
Yep. Go do whatever you need. Shenanigans.
Exactly.
Ahead. Yeah, whole day for shenanigans.
Yeah.
You crack me up. Okay. So now as a reverend, and as being ordained, I know like through Camp Chesterfield, you teach a lot of the classes. I took auras. Auras from you.
Yeah, we just did that in April.
Yep, just did that in April. What other classes? I've heard a number of people say to me that I should definitely hold out and take history of spiritualism with you.
Oh, yes, because I'm very fun. And I talk about all this stuff, even the bad stuff. And I think it's important that spiritualists know where they came from and the people that they came from, and especially the women in spiritualism who were such trailblazers, not only for spiritualism, but for women's rights and for the suffragette movement, all of that kind of stuff. We stand on the shoulders of some incredible women who very much in the beginning resisted an organization because they knew that men would want to be in charge. And there was a convention in the 1800s in Chicago, and one of the mediums who was there said, "I am here to make sure this organization does not happen." And they held him off for quite a while.
Wow.
But as we know, spiritualism is a matriarchal religion.
Yes.
I mean, 100 women to every one man. Yeah.
I mean, that tracks. Tracks.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly, Meg. So I don't know if you can see the comments in here or not, but Meg says trailblazers and troublemakers, the best kind.
Yes, they were. I love them. Is that our Meg from camp?
Yes.
Another Meg.
If it's Meg Wolsifer, yeah. If you go to, I think you should have a little column there somewhere on your screen that says comments. It should pop them up. You should be able to see them.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do. Okay.
There you go. Now you can see.
Oh, now I can see it.
Look at that.
Meg. I love Meg very much.
Yes, me too. I've known her.
And I love Kim so much too. Kim. I know. Okay.
I love my connect. I love that I knew them outside of Camp Chesterfield first.
Mm-hmm.
Kim fixed my tap dance floors.
Yeah.
He hauled them and floated them. So, all right. If you could choose because I know you've been reading tarot for a really long time. If you could, and you do spirit art. I love watching you do spirit art. I love just watching you get in your zone. The gala that we just did,
Yeah.
in May, you sat and sketched out an entire portrait of someone that whole time while you're waiting on like all four of us
waiting on my turn.
waiting on your turn.
Yeah.
So
and you know
tell me,
what?
what's your favorite modality with all that?
The thing I like most, I think, is stand-up clairvoyance, where you just
You don't have a
stand
net.
up and do it.
Just do it.
Because then, okay, so here's part of it. Then you don't have to worry about making art.
There's
You don't
that
have to
too.
worry about if you've remembered to bring your tarot cards, if you're going to do tarot readings,
Mhm.
if the stupid candle will light, if you're doing flame messages. I like to just be able to get dressed and show up.
It is true. Like you just walk up, you're like built-in tool. There you go. You walk
Yeah.
up and you're like, and blah, there we go. All is well. And then we're done. No, you're right. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about the tools and all that. I do love a good tarot though. I find that was my gateway drug into mediumship. And but of course, Michelle Euler is the one who was like, I'd been doing tarot for years. I'd been studying tarot for years, like 10 years. And she and I were talking at a tap dance thing. And she says, I said, well, I read tarot. I'm not a medium. I'm just psychic. I just do the psychic work. I don't know how in the world I didn't understand or put two and two together.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I'm like, no, I just read tarot. But I also know that when I'm doing tarot, I'll get images in my head and sometimes someone will speak through me. I said, but I'm not a medium. And she goes,
yeah.
In her lovely Michelle Euler way, goes, so wait a minute. Can I ask, what do you think a medium is?
I love it.
And I said, you have to see the dead people. And I'm like, and I don't see dead people. And she goes, no, that's not how that works. And then about a year later, I'm in classes with Reverend Glenda trying to figure out my life.
Yeah. I think that's the way it is. I would never have, oh my God, who thought I would ever do this in my life? Because, there are people who realize their mediumship when they're young.
Yes.
They saw grandma when she died walking down the garden path. I got none of that. Nothing.
Got nothing.
And I found I had to dig really deep and work really hard to get to be a medium.
Right.
Which is sometimes an advantage because natural mediums, where it lies so close to the surface, they have trouble turning it off.
Yes.
I have to turn it on. I have no trouble turning it off, but turning it on. And I equate mediumship just like anything else. If you're a little bit inclined to dance, then you have to work on it to be good.
Yes.
Yes. If you play tennis, if you play the piano, if you bake, if you clean, whatever you do, mediumship is not some real mystery secret thing. You work on it, and you might have a lot of talent for it, and you might not.
Right.
And everybody wants to be a platform medium. Not everybody wants to do readings. They want it for themselves.
Right.
And that is just as valid as being ordained.
I agree. And, even in the development classes that I teach, there are people that I always say, what's your why? Why do you want to be in these classes? Why do you want to learn to be a medium? Or why do you want to tap into this? And a lot of them will say, oh, I have absolutely no desire to be in the public, to be doing it for other people. I just want to know how to live my best life. And I'm like, and that's what spirit should be, and not everybody.
Exactly.
And then there are those of us that are big Leo energies. We're like, but what if I was in a stadium talking to 7,000 people about it? But what if I was? Some people want to share spirit in their own in their different ways. We're all cut from the different cloth in that
Right.
way. And you're right. Like I've come across a lot of people who are like, because like, I like how you put it. It's so close to the surface that they can't turn it off, that they're just bombarded with it. They don't know how to control it. So learning, helping them navigate. And I'm not always the one for them. I might send them off to someone else and be, I can help you with boundaries, but really let's put you with another natural medium who had to learn how to do that. I'm not the one. I will find though, looking back on my journey, and maybe this is what I was going to ask you, looking back on my journey, when I reflect on when I was a kid, I used to be like, oh, I want to be psychic. I wish I could do this, because my mom was into astrology. Like I checked my horoscopes every day starting at like 9 years old, just because it was fun. And I've always been obsessed and intrigued by it. However, I just didn't think I had any gift at all. I look back now and go, oh, I did know things. I knew how people were feeling, and I just assumed everybody knew those things. And I knew when it came to theater and dance, you had to learn how to embody emotions that that were never yours, that you've never experienced. You had to somehow embody that and present that as yours, as if it was your journey and your story. So if you look back on your pre-development days, what would you say? Do you have those? Could you track those moments?
Yeah. I think the thing about feeling the energy of a room, and also I was so sensitive. Oh dear God. I don't know how they stood me, all the time. And so now looking back, that
so
was
dramatic.
Yeah,
So theater
that
makes sense.
was my first clue as you look back. And yeah, and when I started going to camp, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to be getting into. I just went because after my divorce, and then I was in another relationship, and one that I couldn't get over, so I go to therapy, right?
As one does, yes.
Yeah, as one does, and as one should.
As one should.
So I went 5 times, and the 5th time he said, "You're better. I don't think you need to come back." But
you're good.
Yeah,
you are done.
I think I just needed to talk out my feelings. But anyway, he recommended a book to me called "Follow the River," which is a true story, and I can't remember the name of the author, except his first name is Tom, spelled Thom. Anyway, it was about this woman who was pregnant, of course, and was kidnapped. This is in the 1800s, kidnapped from West Virginia and brought by those Native Americans to the Cincinnati area. She gave birth in the woods. And I told my sister, no matter how bad it gets for us, we don't have to give birth in the woods. And she said, yeah, but we probably will have to someday.
Oh,
that didn't happen. Anyway, so at some point, she decides to leave. And so she follows the river to get back. And so it's this incredible story of faith. And I started thinking, I wonder what it would be like to have faith like that. To just know that your door, like Joseph Campbell says, you follow your bliss and doors open that open for no one else. And we were not a church-going family. When my parents sent us to vacation Bible school, we went to the Methodist church and had Ritz crackers and red Kool-Aid and all that kind of stuff. So it is so difficult sometimes for people who come to spiritualism from another religion to dig up all that stuff and let it go.
Yes.
But anyway, so and so I just got led to camp, and when I look on it now, back on it, I see all of those things. An atlas that says Indiana Association of Spiritualists. I mean, there's the first one. Right. And look, this little thing I have right here.
Uh-huh.
Back before, where's my camera? There it is. Anyway, see her, Annabelle? Back before we can order things online, I saw this in a catalog. And that was my poor single mom days. And I said, oh, I would love to have that. But it was like $30 or $40. And that was just too much at that time.
Right.
So I don't know, sometime later, I'm in Nashville, Indiana, in one of the shops.
Yeah.
And there she is for $10.
Okay.
So you talk about natural law. You
Yes.
put it out there, and then you let the universe take care of it. And
Yes.
there it is. It blows me away every time. And now I have the good sense to notice when those things are happening, so I can say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. It's that gratitude in the moment. It's the gratitude before you ever get it too.
Right,
Honestly.
right. And knowing that whatever, well, it's like Rumi says, what you are seeking is seeking you. And just to allow things to come to you without strangling them and trying to force it to happen. And now if something is getting very difficult to do, I just say, this is not the time. I need to quit worrying about it, and we'll come back to it later.
Right.
And either I'm meant to do it or I'm not. But I've learned to give that, you got to give up a lot of control, thinking you're in charge.
Right.
Spirit has other ideas sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Every time I think I've got something in the works, Spirit's like, oh, look at her.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, you're darling.
Oh,
but wait, here, I've got something else for you.
And here. Yeah.
Now, here, handle this.
Right. Even down to planning my own, like just my classes, dance classes, even. Sometimes I'll come up with this great plan, and then I'll get in, but then I'll read the room. I'll see what's going on. Whole different direction. And you know what I've learned? Instead of stressing out about it, just going, okay, and just letting it happen. It's so much easier.
Yeah. And you start to realize that how much energy you waste stressing over that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So part of me
matter. The question is, does it really matter?
Right.
As long as the people in your class learned something, it doesn't matter how you presented it.
Exactly. I love that. So, all right. So let's go back to classes. Let's go back to you teaching. Outside of you being an amazing history teacher on the history of spiritualism, what would you say your favorite class is to teach?
Sermon and lecture preparation.
Really? Okay. So tell me why. Why do you like that so much?
I like it because I like to boss people, for one thing.
What? I've never gotten that.
I am. The chariot is my card, my life card, Okay. I have to remember not to run over people. Because here is the thing. Here, I'm going to put my soapbox again.
I love a good soapbox. Let's do it.
Reverend Shirley Schroge, who was an amazing woman and had to sit through thousands of student services.
Okay.
Right? During a week long, when students she said to me one time, if I have to hear another sermon about love, I'm going to puke.
Not wrong. Like,
she's not wrong. And here is the thing. The first thing I tell people is that Paul said to Timothy, teach and preach the things that you know and are convinced of.
Ooh.
Talk about what you know. One time I did a sermon because I was going to be all fancy, and I'm like, this is when I used to write them. And I'm like into the second paragraph, and I thought, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm sure the congregation didn't either.
Right.
And I want, we're afraid of the word preacher. I think it's okay to get excited about what you're talking about. My husband calls it a newscaster delivery of sermons, where they, they could. I want to see people who are enthused about their religion, who are excited about it, who are excited about talking to spirit and that kind of thing. So that's what I encourage him to do. And it's funny because usually for somebody's first sermon, they only want to talk about how they got there, right?
Okay.
It's all about them. And I say, okay, I'll give you one. You can have
taking
one.
Notes, by the way, just in case someday, but I'm taking notes.
You can have one sermon about yourself. And then, you can use yourself as an example in a sermon. And you especially can use yourself as a bad example, even if you make it up. It doesn't have to be true to be truth. So you can use yourself as an example for bad behavior, even if you aren't. Anyway, I think you should be able to speak from your heart. And that's what I do now. I do inspirational speaking. I don't write sermons anymore. I have a couple of notes. This is usually what happens. I get an idea and then Spirit works on it a little bit. I work on it a little bit. Then on Sunday morning in the shower, while I'm getting ready, Spirit tells me everything. So I get dripping out of the shower, and on top of the newel post upstairs, I have index cards and a pen. And so I'm standing there dripping, and I write down what Spirit's telling me.
Listen, wouldn't it be easier if they could just write it themselves on the card? I mean,
I'm working on that. I haven't got that far yet.
I'm busy. Do you think you could fill that card out for me? Thanks.
I understand, though, that some people need the security of that written word, because an energetic preacher is a ham. We love that crowd. We get their energy from that crowd. And so we're like, I will talk to you forever.
Right.
And,
but it's probably good to have a little checklist and be like, and rein it back in.
Yeah. For me, it's the clock. I watch the clock, 20 minutes. Anyway, that is not comfortable for some people, but at the very minimum, you should be very sure of what you're talking about, that you know it.
Right.
And so that's the main thing that I want to get across to people in sermon and lecture prep. You don't just get out there and talk at them. You share what you have learned. And here is another thing. I had one of the ministerial classes with Reverend Sarah Brown, who was incredible.
I've heard so many good things about her too.
I loved her so much.
I came along way too late. I'm telling you.
You did, and she was from Savannah, so she had a little Southern accent, and she told all kinds of stories. And anyway, first her advice was, don't get goofy, which I thought was, don't get goofy.
Okay.
This is universal.
Okay.
But she said that a speaker needs to come into the pulpit with the Bible in one hand and a newspaper in the other. Often in a spiritualist church, it's like this little cocoon of not the real world. But then you have to go out into the real world. And how do you deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I would change it to any sacred text.
Right.
Any sacred text.
Right.
But to ignore things that are going on. Now, there's a very fine line to walk, because you can't get political.
Right.
But you don't want to say, because everybody's on their own path, whatever.
Right. You can still address the human
spiritual
experience.
journey. Yeah, in their spiritual journey. I mean, they're supposed to be Southern Baptists and Catholics. And so that everybody, I mean, next time we might be Amish. I don't know. because we're trying to
Right.
experience everything. So, but
Mhm.
anyway, I did a sermon the other day, and I talked about Thomas Paine wrote, "These are the times that try men's souls. The Sunshine Patriot and the Summer Soldier, blah, blah, blah." And he was talking about a call to war for the Revolutionary War.
Right.
And I said, we are also called to war, but a war of love. And to whatever is out there, we don't hook into it. We don't hook into that hate. We don't hook into that. Well, you could be disappointed for a minute, and then you've got to learn your lesson. Remember your spiritualist lessons,
Yes.
and what you're sending out into the oversoul. What energy are you putting up there to use? We need more positive energy up there. You hating somebody ain't going to change nothing.
It's
Like
just
the
gonna
Buddha
make you-
said, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
right. I love
Okay.
that analogy, by the way.
So, okay, let me get off my soapbox. But that's why
You might as well just stay up there. Do you need a stool? Here, let me get help you
Yeah,
out
I
there,
might
help
need
you
a
figure out.
stairway by the time I'm done.
So, well, okay. So looking at that big picture of not feeding into the hate and trying to teach people how to live in love and find how I look at it as if I'm looking at it as living in a higher frequency and I'm playing the higher notes. I'm not playing the
Mhm.
bass line. I'm not playing all those. I'm not playing the B flat, right?
Mhm,
I'm
right.
playing up here. And what would you say to just a regular, not a practicing medium, but a normal person just out in the wild that's seeking guidance, but is wanting to expand their spiritual, like just their spiritual life and understand how to live in that love? What would you recommend they do? What kind of practice, where would they start? What kind of practice should they have in their everyday life in order to get on that path? What would you recommend?
Yeah. First of all, you have to ask yourself, do I have a spiritual life? What is my spiritual life?
What is it? Yeah. What's your baseline?
And you may not have one. I didn't have one until I started because it was not the culture of my family.
Right.
So first of all, you have to think, what is my spiritual life? Do I have one? What moves me? Some people are moved in nature by the beauty of nature. For
Okay.
me, it's candles and incense. Woo! You got to find what it is that takes you a little bit out of yourself and and gives you that feeling of something more. And then figure out, how do I capitalize on that? What do I need to do? Do I need to meditate in nature? Do I need to make myself a little altar outside? What do I need in the winter? Do I need to bring some fresh flowers in to help me? And we are very fortunate that now with the internet, you can get a lot of information. Some of it will stink. Don't believe everything you read, right? If it sounds good to you and if it makes sense to you, do it. If it doesn't, just remind yourself that that's not for you. It's just like some of us don't wear yellow because it makes us look like a cheese.
Right.
You know? It's the same thing. I feel like there's all this mystery around spirituality and mediumship.
Right.
No, it's not. Just do it.
I tell people all the time, spirit meets us where we are. When we are ready to step into that space, spirit will meet you exactly where you are.
Yeah.
And then it might get a little hard because you might have to they're going to start challenging you a little bit more if they feel like you're up for it. If it's necessary if you've told them what your end goal is, they're going to challenge you. They're going
to help you.
They're going to help you.
And it takes a lot of self-evaluation.
It
I think I
does.
cried for the first year I went to camp because I was working on all of that stuff and it was awful.
Right.
But you know what? What I finally figured out was I wasn't awfuler than anybody else. We all
You
did
know,
stupid stuff.
we all do. And you know, that's been an interesting lesson for me to learn, probably just since in my 50s now. I've started realizing, you know, when you think, okay, I'm going to use a really bad analogy here, but it's so true. When you're in your 20s, you're in a room full of drunk people, you're drunk, and then the next day, nobody can remember anything. We just know we had a great time. But then maybe you get to your 30s and maybe you show up to the party a little late and everyone's already drunk. And then you're sober. You're like, oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
was I like that? You'd be a little more self-aware.
Yes.
But then you also realize in that moment, instead of feeling embarrassed, you can go, but we all do it. Like we've all acted dumb. So instead of shaming yourself and living in that, you just move forward and go, I'm going to do better here. It's fine. And you know what? We all trip. We all fall. We all take a tumble, and we all say and do really dumb things sometimes, like guilty. Sometimes I look at my husband and I'll go, yeah. So I probably owe you an apology. No, I know I owe you an apology because I know I've said some really dumb things, and I'm just going to apologize now because I was that was bad. I don't even, so blanket apology. Sorry about that. And because you just realize we are human, we are spirituals, we are spirit having a human experience. We do say, feel, and even feel like dumb things. We feel things, but I feel like as on a spiritual path, if you can just have more grace for ourselves,
Yes,
and then not get caught up in the weeds of that and go, oh yeah, own it, move on from it, and then you're right. You start seeing other people, and you're like, oh, I'm not the only dumb one here. Excellent.
and we are going to continue to do dumb stuff until we make our transition. And then
right.
even then we might do some dumb stuff, but it's okay. Annie Besant, who was a theosophist, wrote a book called Thought Power. And she says, when you realize, I'm paraphrasing, she said it much more elegantly than I will. When you do dumb stuff, you have to stop and think, ooh, that was dumb stuff. I won't do it again. And then move on and not do it again.
Right. I had and it's so funny because it's all these years later, all like many years, like 15 years ago, I had one, and I tell my people are like, oh God, she's telling this story again. But it's such a foundational part. It speaks back to get therapy, recognize where you fall on your face. It speaks to all this. So 15 years ago, I was really challenging spirit because someone had said to me, you're going to be a medium, da, 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 da. And I asked for a sign, blah, blah, blah. I end up fast forward. There's a lot of things that happen. I end up winning a reading with John Edward, like the John Edward, right? And I get him on the phone. I'm fangirling. I've read all his books. I'm like, wish I could be him, but I knew I wasn't because I wasn't a medium. And he says, oh, you're going to do what I do. I'm like, okay. And then he says, then he for the next 45 minutes tells me how I'm going to fail in life for like all these things and how I'm not going to get this degree and I'm not going to all these plans that I had in my head laid out for myself. He just like raised me for filth. I was so mad. I was like, he's not nice. But then fast forward to how I did every single one of those things, just in a different capacity than what he was explaining in the moment, which, as you and I both know, when you do readings, what we're saying is not always how it translates in what we see in our minds, but how it plays out is very different. So then but 10 years later, after that reading, I look back and go, oh, in lots of therapy in between to recover from all that 10-year cycle. I look back and go, oh, Oh, but you know what? Even though all those terrible things happened and I made a lot of really bad choices and they played out differently than what I thought he was, I almost felt bad. I almost wanted to write him and get, like he was going to ever remember me ever on the radar of like, remembering that, reading me like, hey, remember that time you predicted all these things? It wasn't what you thought. Just it wasn't as bad as you thought, but just I'm not that terrible of a human, I promise. Like I wanted to go back and justify the reading and be like, what you were seeing was not that bad, I promise. But whatever. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But going back, I had to do that. I had to do that deep dive and hard work to move into the mediumship, and now understanding that part of that journey, that humanness, was 1,000% necessary to get me to in this exact moment, having this conversation with you and being and understanding how it's still going to be part of my journey going forward. So, but it took that profound kick in the teeth, basically, in that reading, to now I can look back and forgive that and live that spiritual life now in the way. And that was spirit meeting me where I was in that moment through like my idol of all people. Like, but I did ask for it. I was like, well, I guess if Sylvia Brown or John Edward, told me I was going to do this work, I'd have to. And then, I did. I'm like, oh,
yes.
I guess you're serious about this. I'm like, at the time I'd only met one spirit guide, Lily. And I was like, oh, so you're serious about that? Oh, okay. Fine. Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that kick in the pants where you're like, I don't want to do that? And then spirit's like, yes, you are, and shoves you in the deep end.
Yeah. Standing there being ordained.
Oh, well, besides, I already got the candle. Like I could see that from you, by the way, just standing up there and be like, well, I already got the shoes now. I'm already here.
What the hell?
But what will be another example of that for you? Like just looking back on your past, going, and then now realizing that this is the spiritual life that you're, or it all makes sense for you, or it all comes to fruition and you help someone else. Maybe I should say that.
I think it was certainly getting to camp and understanding what connection with spirit is all about. And the people that I met that have profoundly influenced me. Unfortunately, most of them are in spirit now, and I'm really mad at them because now I understand enough that I could discuss it with them intelligently, and they're not here. So I try to talk to them in spirit, and sometimes they will, but I'm just mad. Maybe they're waiting for me to stop being mad at them.
Maybe.
And I think one of the things that took me a long time to learn is to visualize what you want and then let spirit take care of the how you get there. Because in our minds, we think this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. And spirit may go, no, it doesn't. Here, let's just do this. That'll be easier.
Right.
And I think it becoming aware of the opportunities that come to you and not being afraid to say yes. It's like when you do improv, it's yes. And.
Yes. And. Oh, ooh.
Yes. And.
Yes. I love that. Yes. And. Oh, improv. Oof. Improv.
Oh, and another I was very fortunate that Suzanne recommended lots of books to us.
Okay.
And so I bought those books. I didn't always read them.
Somehow
having them, or I would read the first chapter and go, "Oh, I got it."
I got it. Well,
But she led us to a lot of interesting literature, and one of the most important ones for me is an old book that was written in the 30s by Emily Cady. It's called Lessons in Truth, and she was involved with unity, and it is about natural law. And one of the most important things I read is about catastrophic thinking. I used to be a catastrophic thinker. You know, if I was going to have to be a couple days late on the mortgage, I would think, oh no, we're homeless.
Right.
So she calls these denials, and it's not to say, no, that's not going to happen. She goes, you just say to yourself, is that true? Well, no, it takes a long time. Do you think that they're going to foreclose on your house when you're 2 days late? Well, no. And just to back up from that 0 to 60 catastrophic thinking that you have, and back yourself up from it. And now, if this were on British TV, we could say this, but I will paraphrase it. So now it's like, screw it, whatever.
I mean, we're
on worrying about it.
We're on Lorenda TV right now. You can say whatever you want. I mean, so whatever.
Wow.
You can say whatever you want.
Somebody told me once, some man said to me once, you're not much of a lady. And I said, frankly, that's nothing.
I'd be like, oh, thank you.
Oh man, I will clutch my pearls and be insulted.
Right.
Whatever.
I better go back and reevaluate my life.
I gotta go back to finishing school and have my cotillion.
This is fully what I anticipated about today, too, by the way. So when you're talking about that whole catastrophic thinking, did you ever watch that movie with Bill Murray called What About Bob?
Oh yeah, we just rewatched it the other day. What about Bob?
What about Bob? I know. What I do? So funny.
Oh my God.
But just that catastrophic thinking, like, well, if I think the worst, if it's the worst thing that could ever happen, then it won't happen. Where here we are as spiritual people going, I mean, if you're really thinking that's where you're going to end, you just might draw that to you. I don't know. If that's what you feel like you deserve, if you feel you deserve that, that's exactly what's going to happen. Do you ever feel like, and I know many people, even people I'm related to, that they're like, no, they catastrophize. They do the same thing. And they're like, it's like, they're so dead set on the negative happening. And then the negative does happen. And they're like, see, look, I'm psychic. I predicted it. I'm like, no, you made it happen because you would rather be right. You would rather be right.
My family is not that deep of thinkers. We're not.
I've known plenty of friends, even people around me that they're convinced they're psychic because they made these bad things, because they predicted these bad things. I'm like, no, you were just so convinced that this bad thing is going to happen that's your trajectory. That's not even spiritual. Again, natural law, in my opinion. But anyway, we totally derailed. I'm still cracking up at the cotillion. What? Am I? And why did we take on a Southern accent all of a sudden? Why did we take on that Southern Belle accent?
We do. And if we're going to talk about some other things, we become from Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn.
Absolutely. I can get
if we're going to be very posh, then we become British. Those are the only accents I can do.
I got all kinds of accents.
German. You know, I won an award. Huh?
I go ahead.
No, I won my first acting award with doing a woman with a German accent.
I love
So
that.
there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
But you know what? Here's the thing. In Indiana, all you have to do is sound a little bit different. We are not really cued in to the differences in accents.
Right.
Whatever you pull out.
Right. Exactly. When I was a kid, my brother and I would always, we were huge into accents. We would try to emulate accents. We would, even cartoons like Bugs Bunny. And so we were big in that. And now it turns out it's really helpful in all things now. I don't know. But also at one point, I don't know if I ever told you this. Did I ever tell you I wanted to be a stand-up comedian at one point?
No.
That's something I thought would be really fun in college. But I got married in college because that's what you did. Because you couldn't live with your boyfriend back then. My mom was like, live with him. You won't marry him. Turns out she was right, except we got married so we could live together. A kid and well, that later divorced. Anyway, I wanted to be, I was going to do open mic night at Ball State. And because they had like chirp chirp. I was there before they did chirp chirp though. And so people thought I was hilarious because all my material was about my now ex-husband. But at the time we were married, he didn't think it was so funny. He got so mad at me. So I ended up not doing it. Because he was like, well, you're first and foremost, you should be dedicated to me first and foremost. I'm like, really? So now if I were to go to my now husband and say, I'm going to do stand-up comedy, a majority of it's going to be about you, he'd be like, cool.
Let me give you some more material to work with.
Right. I don't know that he'd go. Like, he doesn't go to these things. He might. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't see it happening. Although you never know. Like, you never know.
You never know nothing.
You can do comedy and spirit.
I mean, especially if you go to the universe. I'm never, ever doing that. The universe goes, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, the universe says, hold my beer. Okay.
Hold my beer. Exactly.
All of a sudden you find yourself on stage. You're like, wait, how did I get here? Okay, here we go. So basically what I need to do is I need to do trance mediumship and embody an actual comedian that's on the other side. And then.
Yeah, why don't you channel Lenny Bruce?
There we go.
You can do it today.
I can totally do it.
Good.
I could, because I am a trance medium. I love it. Now, do you do trance work? I don't know that we've ever really talked about that. Do you ever really step into that space?
It's not really my thing. My husband is a great trance medium.
Okay.
And he specializes in past lives. He works with his guide, Robbie. And I don't know. I would like to be a trance medium, but you have to work on it.
Yeah.
And so he has a trance class at church every Tuesday afternoon. And I went a couple of times, but I'm impatient waiting for my turn. And then I'm ready to go home. So I decided they didn't need that kind of energy. However, this is what I would say. No matter how badly you do trance, it improves your clairvoyance.
It 1000% does. When I started allowing the trance work, because I also do past life stuff. So I'm a QHHT past life regressionist. And when I get regressed, you talk to your higher self. That is trance. That is trance, plain and simple. It's just not spirit. It's actually just you that you're bringing through. And so I found that once I started doing that and then started working on just learning actual trance, I was already channeling and didn't understand that that's what I was doing, but started learning actual techniques of trance. You're right. My mental mediumship all of a sudden just expanded like I never expected. And now it's to the point, because at Camp Chesterfield, like when you're on the platform, you can't be doing trance channeling on the platform. You can't, it's kind of against they 2 thumbs down on that, right? So you do the mental mediumship, which I love doing. But like this weekend, there was a spirit that was stepping super close, and I was like, rule number 1, medium's always in control. Back off, buddy. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I can speak for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. The medium is in control. Oh my God. I had a friend once. We were going in class together, and Chris was more of a natural medium than I was, but we were at Castleton like 100 years ago when I think we were in Spencer's Gifts. Remember Spencer's Gifts?
It's still there.
And they were playing this drumming.
Spencer's Gift.
And Chris goes, oh, I'm going into trance. And I said, no, you're not.
You're not.
Come on, we're getting out of here.
Quit it.
Also, many years ago, my daughter and I went down to Bloomington because His Holiness the Dalai Lama was there teaching on the Heart Sutra. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine was a couple rows back who went to camp with me. And so His Holiness speaks in Tibetan or whatever he does. And then there's a translator, even though we know he can speak. Anyway.
Right.
There wasn't quite the spiritual opening that I expected, but it was interesting. We paid for it. So we all go to lunch, right, in the food court. And there's like nothing but Burger King. So we've all eaten Whoppers and fries. And we get back, and it's the afternoon session. And I see Helen later, and she said, I think I was going into trance. And I said, you and everybody else, you were falling asleep, Helen. That's what was happening.
You were in beta level.
I have a lot of patience for people who like to live in La La Land. You came for a physical incarnation here. Pay attention to it, or you're going to have to do it again. I ain't doing this again.
Nope. No, we're clearing this.
Some of it I would do again. It got better.
Yeah. I look, again, going back to all that craziness that happened, I look at that as, you know what I look at that as? I look at that as part of a past life, even my own incarnation. Like right now, that 10 years period of shit show, like that was my life. I look back, I don't even recognize that person anymore. I'm not even close to that same person anymore. And to me, that is a past life within this current life.
Yeah. And maybe it's working through those things that you've dragged back from your past life to get them out of your system.
Or it's just lessons we had to learn. And thank you, I learned them. Moving on. So now we're on to new lessons. Also, everyone, it's so funny because my dog will start barking and my regular viewers on TikTok are like, hi, Olive. Because Olive sleeps until I come down here. And then she's like, but I'm on guard.
I am protecting the castle.
Right. She's not. She's just making noise, trying to get people to look at her. Look at me. I'm cute. So sometimes Olive has things to say. Anyway. All right. Oh, I had a really good question for you. Yeah. So we're going to do a little pivot here. You strike me as you're a lifelong learner. I feel like, I feel the vibe from you that not feel the vibe. I witnessed you in real time. I asked you a question. I wasn't even sure how to ask the question in Aura's class. I didn't even know what I was asking. And you were looking at me like, I don't know. I was like, I think I might be asking the question wrong because I don't know that I'm even understanding just a basic concept. And then you were like, I don't know. I'll get back to you. And boy, by God, the next day you were like, I looked it up. And you're like, and then you explained it at the level that I didn't even know how to ask the right question. But then so my point is, you strike me as a lifelong learner. You're open to learning new things. what do you feel like you want to learn next? Like, is there some other aspect, whether it's in spiritual, whether it's crocheting, I don't know. Well, you already do that, but what else, what other things are you just curious about and want to learn? What are you looking towards the future?
More about the divine feminine.
Okay.
In fact, we're going to have a retreat at camp in November, a women's retreat that is going to focus on the divine feminine. Because you know what? This is what I do. I say, I will teach this class, and then I have to study the class so I can teach it.
Right.
I like to do that.
Right.
Anyway, so the divine feminine. Also, I am interested in the Tree of Life and Kabbalah, and especially using tarot to do path working on the Tree of Life.
Oh.
And and sacred geometry.
You know, I got D's and F's in geometry. I don't know if I'd really want to delve into sacred geometry.
It doesn't have sine and cosine, and it's across a circle, a square.
The Pythagorean theorem, right? Did not.
Yeah. So, and I have a huge library. I had a big library until Reverend Lucille Zimmerman. I bet you didn't know her either. Oh, I love Lucille's little bitty red-haired lady. Oh my God. She'd taken every class that they ever had at camp.
Yeah.
And she finally went, I guess I'll get ordained. She's fantastic. But when she passed into spirit, she sent me her library, all of her books, and it doubled what I had. Yeah, and that was after
what a gift.
I know.
Gift.
I know there is stuff in there that I had never heard of. She had some really old stuff, and that's one of the things that I think if you're studying mediumship, and in however you want to use it, reading some of the very old writings. Yes. Yeah, and they won't all make sense, and the language is sometimes very difficult to understand exactly what they're saying, but there are things that you can pick up, like I can't remember which one it's in. Maybe it's in White Eagle's series of books. Spiritual Unfoldment 1, 2, 3, and 4 are excellent. Anyway, somebody said, in effect, that spirit doesn't have to talk to you if they don't want to. They say you can't just call on them and expect them to talk. They might, but they can also say no. They're not sitting around up there waiting for you or beside you waiting for you to call on them.
Right.
They have to be willing. Well, they have to know how.
They have to know how.
They have to believe in it. And they have to not be scared to try it. One time I was given a message to somebody at church, and it was the weirdest thing. This spirit stepped up who had just very recently passed, and he was so scared. And he took my hand, and we walked to the person so he could talk to her. It was, I never had that experience again, but and maybe they don't want to talk to you. Maybe they didn't like you. So in fact, I took one of my students to task one time because she was working on the platform, and she said, she was given a message, and two people were taking it. And anyway, and she said to the person that wasn't, I'll talk to your dad in a minute. And I said, don't you ever, ever do that again. Don't you assume that father is going to step up. The one that stepped up went to this person. We don't know that the other one's father stepped up. Don't you ever presume on spirit like that.
Right.
Here's another thing. I have to say this before I forget, because, I forget lots of stuff. Anyway, I also make a lot of stuff up. I have a lot of opinions that are not based in reality.
That's okay.
Yes.
As long as you acknowledge that.
I've been to Lily Dale, the spiritualist camp in New York,
I've never
3 or
been.
4 times. And one time I was there, and Mavis Patilla, who was a medium from England, was there. Oh my God. It was like sitting at the feet of the master. She was she talked for 2 days with no notes about spiritualism, about spirit, about all kinds of things. But the thing that struck me the most, she said, you know how there's word of mouth on the earth plane? There's word of mouth in spirit too.
That makes sense.
They will tell each other who is a good medium and who you can come, who will pick up on you and that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that is so exciting. And that's why I want to treat spirit with the same respect that I treat people on the earth plane. Just because I call them, they don't have to answer. And I don't want to presume my will on spirit. They come if they want to come. And most of the time they do. And what I've come to realize is that even those who are nervous about it or didn't believe in it, and they kind of stick their little nose in there, love is stronger than any of that other stuff. They want to see their person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes when they come in, they like stand way far away. And you're like, did they not believe in this? No. Okay. Well, that's why they're standing way over there.
I get that too. Or if they're way far away, I've actually had spirits stay far away and they'll go. And then I honor that. It's like they just want to be part of this process, but I'll know it, and they'll tell me who they are. And then 9 times out of 10, the sitter will say, well, my dad in spirit, like we didn't get along. I don't even want to hear from him.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, that's understandable. I don't say, oh, I know, because he's here and he told me. We're not going to, that's ego, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. But that has happened, that where spirit has come and said, they don't need to know that I'm here, but I'm just sharing, like, but they knew that I could feel them because I'm doing the thing, right? So I'm feeling spirit. But I've also had people come in like you, like if someone had just passed, and it's not that they didn't believe in it. They just didn't quite understand how to do it yet, which was mind blowing to me, that sometimes spirit has to learn how to connect between the
just
two.
Like we had to learn.
Just like we have to learn. Exactly. And that, but what was interesting is there was one point where a dad or a grandfather stepped up. And this was actually at Spirit Fest. I was doing reading. I said, okay, well, I'm feeling a grandfather stepping forward. And he's saying two, like, would you have been the 70s or like Peace Man or whatever? And I go, oh no, there's two of them there. And then I sensed a very faint right behind him, someone else, a young boy, or like a teenager, like a young man. And that's who. And I said that, and then of course tears, like, yes, that's my son. He just passed very recently. And it was the first time he'd ever come through in a reading. And I said, well, grandfather's here to help facilitate that. And so at that point, I'd never heard of anything like that. It happened. I said, just so you know, like, this is happening in real time. I'm experiencing this in real time. And that it had never occurred to me, because spirit is infinitely intelligent. We know this. They have access to all the juju over there, but it didn't occur to me that maybe that soul, that particular incarnation, the soul of that incarnation, that little spark, doesn't know. And that's okay if they're looking to us with that, that little bit, or working with another spirit to kind of bridge that gap. So I don't know.
Yeah. If they didn't experience it here on the earth plane, there's no reason to think that they would know it. And then there are people who believe that it's the end. So they get to just lay around. Reverend Rena Cadell told us this one time. She said, and they're just laying around. Every once in a while, somebody will come blow a horn trying to get them up out of their grave, but they just lay there.
Just lay there.
Have you seen the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams?
No.
Oh, you need to watch that, because that is the other side in it's such spiritualist philosophy.
Okay.
It is exactly how we think of it. And there's this one part where there's all these gray faces. Just those are the people just laid in their graves. And Rena goes, I didn't look at that part because I was afraid I know someone.
Oh my gosh.
Rena, they were actors.
That's so funny. That's right.
She didn't care.
That's funny. Yeah. TikTok is saying such a good movie, such a good movie.
Oh, it is such a good movie. Yeah.
So I need to have that. I need to write. I keep writing them down. I got Post-it notes everywhere in here of things I'm supposed to be doing. And then I leave them in my reading room, and then I'm upstairs, and then my husband goes out of town. I'm like, oh, what am I going to watch? Outlander again? I don't know. Like, instead of remembering that there's a whole list of movies in my basement that I'm supposed to be watching.
I watch a lot of true crime. So my husband is frightened.
That does not shock me about you at all.
I know why. I told him I already bought a shovel and the quicklime with cash years ago, so they can't trace it. So there you go. And my friend Lisa's car would hold 4 bodies easily.
And we know that she's going to go to the grave with it. So you have your people that you can call me like, we need to use your car.
Yeah.
I just tell them
questions. Any woman who has anything wrong to them, just call up and say, let's go.
Let's go. And all
nobody's taken me up on it yet because they think I'm joking.
But
and I am.
Yeah. I did have someone that I'm no longer friends with. The friendship was a little shaky, but in the early years of our friendship, we were like, we're ride or die, but we got your back. And there were some things that we covered each other on, but nothing life altering, just matter of inconvenience, like calling into work kind of thing.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Lying on a job application. I don't know. I can't remember what I covered for her. At one point, she reached out to me and she goes, if the FBI calls you, would you be willing to say da, 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 da? And I'm like, okay, in the interest of self-preservation, are you joking? And she's saying, no, I have a situation. And I go, my husband's a lawyer. And there's a lot of things that I know. I keep my nose clean. Thank you very much. And I said, absolutely not. Like, if you're testing me, then I'm failing because I am not going to go down in a blaze of glory for something that you did that I was no part of. And she, within a month, quit talking to me. So I think she's serious. I was like,
I'll do a lot of things, but I ain't going to prison for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, I feel like that would be on the list of things I have to come back and atone for and work out.
Yes.
I think I don't want to do that.
No, I got enough stuff I'm going to have to take care of.
Right.
I don't right.
I remember Reverend Glenda talking about, it may have been Reverend Louise, her mentor, Louise Hay. Louise Hay was her mentor.
Irvin.
That's right. Because there's 2 Louises, but and she said that, I'm pretty sure it was her, that she was talking about that she was still in development later in life. She's like, oh no, I'm going to work this out and get it all done now, so I don't have to figure it out and do it again. So then when I transition, I can just stay there. And I thought, oh, that's kind of genius, actually. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how would you do that?
Live this life as if it were your next life.
Yes.
I tried to do that, but it doesn't always work out.
It doesn't. Sometimes you're tripping over your own feet. So you're like, oh, that's right. These boulders are mine in this incarnation. I need to quit worrying about that over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you have coming up? What kind of things do you have coming up? I know, like we've got things at camp. We've got opening at camp. Are you going to be teaching at the Spirit Retreat Week, whatever that is.
Yeah, the Spirit Retreat Week. I'm doing a little class on neurographic art, which is a great tool just to help calm yourself down. Well, it's really basic. Remember we used to do scribble drawings, and you would scribble and then you'll color in the white spaces?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, only with intention. But it's really great because it just, you can do it anywhere, and it's just a nice way to either, you can meditate or at least just calm yourself down. And then I think on Thursday I'm going to do we couldn't call it wine and canvas because there, as you know, will not be any wine. Just a follow along painting thing, like they do it at those wine and canvas.
So call it grape juice and painting.
Huh?
Grape juice and painting. That's what we can call it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And then opening day, I got on a committee. I'm on the events committee. Anyway, we are having a spirit art psychic fair.
Right.
There'll be 4 or 5 of us who do spirit art, and we're going to have a silent auction with some spirit art. And we have some incredible stuff. So
if y'all don't know, you need to follow all the socials for Camp Chesterfield. I hear a really cool ladies running that whole shindig, but make sure you're following all the socials because we got that Spirit Week camp opening, and that's summer solstice weekend too. So we'll have that's cool though. And I need to note to self. I do have an email sitting in there going, "Hey, you need to advertise spirit art, the auction." So I gotta add that to my list of things to do. That's coming up. I know it's dance recital weekend. So there's a lot of things that are kind of simmering on the back burner right now that are going to get addressed maybe on Monday is what's going to happen. That might be one of them. But so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing spirit art on Saturday at 1:00 at camp.
I'll have to come check that out. I'm going to be there all day that day because I'm on platform that afternoon. Wait, are you on platform too that day?
Yeah. At 1:00. Is it us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's us.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. I'll see you there. Yeah. And
I want to say Sophia, maybe? Is it Sophia?
Sophia. Yes. Because are you substituting for Amanda? Because I think she's out of town.
I don't remember.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll see who shows up.
I was scheduled for that day because it was one of the few days that I could actually do it. So I know I'm on platform that day because it's in my calendar. And my calendar right now dictates my life. So
yes. So I'll see you Saturday. We'll sit in the medium's room and talk.
We'll talk it out. We'll talk.
Here's the subject.
So that's going to be a big weekend. Hey, I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can answer this. So you know how on Camp Chesterfield on the grounds, there's the tree, the solstice tree. Somebody had told me there's you know what I'm talking about over by the bridge. There's a tree and then there's things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what it was called.
I don't think it is. I feel like I feel like I was on a tour and I was only half listening because I was like, oh, pretty sparkly thing. And I didn't think to ask to go back. The solstice circle. Oh, Meg said the solstice circle. Yes. Oh, I might ask Meg then, because if you don't even know what it's called, then you might not know to answer this. But I feel like there's a reason it's called that. And it has to do with on solstice at a specific time, the light shine through or something like that. I don't remember. I was going to ask you if you knew about that. But
I heard that one. I was real involved in camp I was the vice president and the dean of education. And then I had a little disagreement with the management. And so I was gone for a really long time.
Oh, okay. Okay. It says go at sunrise and the sun will align up the steps to the tree. Got it. Okay. I won't be there at sunrise because that's really early.
Yeah.
That's like the longest day of the year. Why would I do that? I live an hour away.
I like my sleep.
But if someone else wants to go, someone who lives on the grounds, wink, wink, Meg. It would be cool if we got a video of that. That would be really cool if we got a video of that. I'm just saying, it's an idea. And Meg's probably like, I'm not getting up that early. Are you
She
kidding
rolling.
me?
I hear her rolling her eyes.
All right.
I can hear her doing that.
She's like, yeah, no, that's not
That's how
happening.
psychic I am.
Right. You hear Meg rolling her eyes. She's laughing. She says, bah. So, all right, I'm going to look at my list of questions. I had a whole bunch of things. Oh, this is a good one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is a ChatGPT question. You've spent decades serving spiritualism, teaching, reading, creating art, and mentoring others. What do you hope your legacy will be?
Here it is. This happened several years ago because after this happened, I thought if I never do anything else, this was important.
Okay.
It was when I was vice president and a woman called Camp. She had found her son who had achieved suicide in the closet. And so she was struggling, of course. And so I talked to her. And he was on the football team and had, I think there were about 6 or 7 of these young men who had just been at his house before this happened. And they left. And then it happened. And they were struggling. So she brings them to camp on a psychic fair Saturday. And she's going to pay for them all to have readings in hopes that they connect with him. Oh. And you know how that works. There's no guarantee that he's going to come through. And she was not wealthy. And I knew that was going to be a financial burden for her too. So I said, Spirit said through me, come on, I'll talk to you. And so we headed to the chapel and we're going down the sidewalk and they're kind of hanging back. And I said, oh, it's okay. We sacrificed the chickens last night. You're safe.
Of course you did.
We went down into the basement, into that seance room that's named after Evelyn Regal. Yeah. And I just started talking to them and he came through so clearly.
Good.
I asked them, which one of you wrote something about him? And one kid said, I did. And the rest of them went, I didn't know you did that. And I said, which one of you has sloppy hands? And the kid goes, and there was all of this stuff that he was talking to them about. And I had told one kid, the kid with the sloppy hands, that this kid in spirit was worried about him. And he said, why is he worried about me? I said, because you like girls that don't like you. And he was like, so I feel like I gave them, or spirit through me, gave them some closure, some peace, some whatever for them to get past this. And for all of my life, that will be the best thing I ever did. And if I never did anything better than that, it's okay.
That'll be it. Yeah. Wow. I think that's such a testament to who you are as a person. Like you're outwardly funny, everything's funny and you try, but you know what? Spirit's funny. If I'm being honest, spirit's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But I find that you keep everything lighthearted and up here. And it's to me, it's fun because spirit should be fun, for goodness sake. It shouldn't be always down, because even in grief, we can heal through laughter. We can heal through that high vibration and celebratory vibration. And ultimately, I think as long as you go into this work with the intention of helping the sitter find healing and knowing their loved ones are okay, then you're doing it for the right reason.
You're doing it for
And
the right reasons. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because all the other
Uh,
stuff is just a shtick, just like the crowned medium thing. It's fun.
yeah.
It's a shtick.
It's fun.
It's,
It should be fun. You should enjoy your religion or
right.
your connection with spirit or your faith or whatever.
Whatever you want to call it, right?
I mean, oh
But in
God,
the
who
end,
wants
when it
to?
gets right, when it gets right down to it, we're healing people. And I think that's where a lot of mediums go wayward, or
Mhm.
where people learning, they kind of lose sight of that. I think I see a lot of people lose sight of that. They're more about the, how good can I look if I give you this
Oh
reading?
yeah. The best mediums give up their egos and they're not afraid to be wrong.
That's
You have
so
to give
true.
up needing to be right.
Right.
Because
Even the most
that'll
famous
kill it.
mediums, correct. Even the most famous mediums that have giant platforms and people tune into every single word they say will tell you, I'm not 100%. None of us claim to be 100%. And spirit's 100%. It's the human that has the
It's
issue
me.
here.
It's me. It's coming through me.
Because it's
Yeah.
still coming
Oh,
from the mediums.
and Sarah Brown also told us, she said when somebody she loves passes, she says, I'm on a ball and squall just like everybody else, but I know they're okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have
Now,
to ball and squall.
you have to. It's part of the human experience.
It is. It
It's
is.
part
And you
of it.
shouldn't ever be ashamed of it.
Right.
You
I've
should
had
ball and
actually, yeah, ball and squall. I like that. I'm gonna have to borrow
ball
that.
and
Ball
squall.
and squall. Good morning, Carrie. I have actually had spirit come through in a reading for specifically, actually, one of my really good friends. And I know she won't mind me talking about this at all, because she's talked about it with me on the show. When her daughter passed, I had never met her. Is when I first started on TikTok. So I didn't know her story. I didn't know anything. And I ended up doing a cold reading for her, like just an impromptu reading for her. Her daughter steps in and her daughter says, you need to go through the grief process. You have to go through every single step, because you need to form the foundation that's going to be coming up in my honor. You're going to need to do a lot of work. What happened to me will help you save lives. And this was like only 6 months into her daughter's passing.
Mm.
And again, I'd never met her. Now we are great friends and I adore her. And guess what? She's working with the government. She's got this amazing foundation, Northern Indiana. And it's just, it was incredible. But her daughter said, you need to experience every stage of grief, get through it, and understand that it'll never stop. But you have to experience every piece of grief. And then you're going to move into this foundation. And I tell you what, she's raised millions and millions of dollars.
Wonderful.
She's gotten grants. She's got the eye of the gut, like the work that she has done is astounding. And I'm just so proud of her. But that's where it started, was her daughter coming through that day.
Mm-hmm.
And just saying, you have to experience it. You have to bawl and squall. Yeah. And now, her name's Patty, my friend Patty. She is just a force to be reckoned with and an absolute light.
How
in
wonderful.
The world. And because she allows herself and she grieves out loud even. I mean, it's only been 5 or 6 years now, I think 5 years. And she'll still grieve publicly. She's like, I'm having a hard day today. I'm my daughter. And yeah, we're doing all this great work, but you know what? I miss her still. And I think that I believe that's, and she's also a medium and she does a lot. She already did spirit work and all that had to be tabled for a while because she had to be the human. And I think that's the other thing that I try to tell people, and maybe you can speak on this too, is when our students or our colleagues or the people that are also doing spiritual work, when they have a tragedy happen, even though we know where they go, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for that mediumship to go out the window for a little bit, and you focus on your human journey.
Yeah, and to think that because you're a medium or because you've done a lot of spiritual work that you're above human emotions, that's just
Right.
nonsense.
It is.
You're still, I mean, we learned to deal with it, and some things we learn to overcome. Oh, like envy and jealousy, and sometimes their little heads pop up, and we remember our spiritual lessons.
Right.
But wow, I mean, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be joyful. It is okay to laugh. It is okay.
Yeah.
And I find that, well, my congregation is used to me now, but when I serve when I serve at another church, sometimes they don't warm up right away and realize that it doesn't have to have learn your lessons through pain or through joy. Pick one. Which one do you think? Yeah. And there's I think it's an Islam proverb that says, he is blessed who makes his companion. Laughing is such a release.
It is. It is. And it's to me, we have two emotions, love and fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Every other emotion stems from one of those. So we can either live in love or live in fear. And sometimes when we're bawling and squalling, then we have to choose, are we coming from a place of fear, or are we coming from a place of love in that grief?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it says in the Course in Miracles. There are only two emotions, love and fear. And if you're not coming from love, you better look at what you're doing. And that's another thing. I don't teach development class anymore because everybody thinks I'm too mean. So,
what?
Yeah, because I say, well, first I say, we have a little lesson and then it'll be time to give messages. And I said, I'll say, who wants to go first? And they all sit on their hands. And I say, then why the hell are you here?
Right.
Which
this is your time.
But I insist that they work, and I insist that they try. That's what Suzanne did. Oh my God, I came out of her class crying more than one time. And because you gotta challenge yourself. And I was worried about that until I talked to a former student of Suzanne, and she said, if she's working you that hard, it's because she thinks you've got something. She said, you watch.
Yes.
The people who don't have anything, she'll let them stand up and do their three little messages and sit down. But with me, she was always, give me more. Who's saying that? Tell me more. Tell me more. Yep. And so now I've lost my train of thought about what point I was going to make, but there you go. What was the question?
I forget. We were just talking about fear versus love.
Oh,
but I think you make a really good point going off of that, because again, I like to compare the teaching dance and my spiritual work. And, if I'm that person, when I went to New York for the first time and I took a dance class, everybody's was 6 feet away from the teacher. I'm like, I paid for this class. I'm going to be in front. And that teacher looked at me like I didn't belong up there. I'm like, girl, I'm paying your salary.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm going to take up space up front. And because you know what? I ask my students all the time, I'll say, who's in charge of your dance education? And they'll go, you are. Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. I am in charge of giving you the tools. I'm providing the toolbox. I'm teaching you how to use them, but you have to pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with the spiritual work. I cannot imagine showing up to any of those classes. And you've only had me in the one class, but I was asking questions, even if I didn't really understand the question I was asking. I was asking, and I was trying, and I was I'll volunteer for things. People often will think it's because I'm trying to be, the whatever star of the show, whatever. I don't care. No, I'm in charge of my education. I am in charge of learning. The only way I'm going to learn, I know as a learner, I'm hands-on. I have to try things. I have to do things. I have to experience them for me to understand them. I understand my own bandwidth. So I am in charge of my education. Mm-hmm. Nobody else is. No one else is responsible for it. And so I feel like even in spiritual work, if if I see, or if a teacher says to me, give me more, I'm going to take that as a compliment that they see me using the tools that they've given me.
Mm-hmm.
They're teaching me how to use those tools.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, oh, you think that wrench is cool? Try this screwdriver.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh-huh.
now try this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
giving me the whole
Exactly.
experience. That's what a true mentor is going to do. And that's what a true student is going to do, is grab onto those tools. And I can see very quickly, usually, even whether it's spiritual work or dance class, I can see it very quickly who's going to pick up the tools and who's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And I think that's probably one of my biggest things in teaching. If I can leave that legacy in teaching,
Yes.
you are in charge of your dance education. Empowered. They need to be empowering themselves.
Yeah.
On all the levels. Take all the classes.
And you probably get this in readings and stuff. People go, what is my purpose in life?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Say, your purpose is to be nice. That's it. If that's all you do in this life,
be nice.
That's plenty.
Even if it's just be nice to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I remembered my point I was going to make. When I started at camp in 1995, there was such a powerhouse of mediumship in that place. Reverend Suzanne Greer, Reverend Pat Kennedy, Reverend Wynne Schroge, Reverend Shirley Schroge, Reverend Louisa Irvin, Julie Fioresci, Judith Davis, Willis Ward. I can't even remember all of them, but I had all these wonderful role models.
Yeah.
With bunches of different styles of how they work. And so I will watch them and say, that is how I would say to Violet, that's how I want to do it. That's how I want to do it. And that's not how I want to do it. And not that the ones that were not
that they're bad. You just don't vibe.
There was nothing wrong with their messages. Yeah. We just didn't share the same energy. And I also realized that not everybody will share mine, but especially Suzanne, she was just such a powerhouse, so confident, and so just laying it all out there.
Right.
And so I had a chance to model my work on the example of other people. Back when I started going to camp, the all message services were at 6:30 on Saturday night. And if you didn't get there by 6:00 and get a seat, you weren't getting in. Wow. There wasn't enough room.
My goal as the social media person for that is to get that back.
We used to plan. We used to have this little bitty book, right? It used to be a little book that would fit in your purse. Sandy Kuiper and I were always like, okay, who's on the platform? Let's see, are we going to go Saturday night? Are we going to go? That kind of thing. I mean, we were up there. We were up there for class, and then we were up there for everything. And Wednesday night used to be the night that everybody had development class. And sometimes it would be hard to find a place to park because there's so many development classes going on.
Wow.
And we never missed a class. You'd have to be deathly ill not to go. Class. And there are that many students that were that dedicated. And, and times change and stuff changes, and the pandemic really messed all of us up. But that's what I didn't see when I did do a development class in some of those students. They just weren't committed to it. They weren't committed to doing the work.
Right.
And so if that's what they're going to be content with, fine,
Right.
That's all the farther you want to go. Okay, but don't be coming to my class.
Right. Right.
I threatened to throw a rock at somebody's head one time. She was up on the platform and she's going, and this was in a class, she's going, and I said, Tracy, if you don't start talking, I'm going to throw a rock at your head. So From then on, she carried a rock in her pocket whenever she gave messages to remind her to get on with it.
Okay, that's funny though. But that, you know what? That could have broken her and made her run away, or it could empower her, and it
made her stay. And she's a damn fine medium.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. So as we're getting ready to wrap up here, Susan, is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers? That any profound wisdom that you'd like to share?
First of all, if you can't be a good example, you'll just have to be a horrible warning. There's that. And I just want to encourage people to follow your own path. It's the one for you. You don't have to do it like anybody else. And any teacher who tells you this is the only way to do this, you get out of that class right away, because that is not it.
Agreed.
When I teach tarot, first of all, I say these cards are not magic. They're cardboard and ink. The magic happens between me and who I'm reading for.
Right.
The cards, they're, and, now I forgot. But when I explain the meanings, I say, this is what it means to me. And so I want to tell you this. And I use the Rider-Waite deck because it has so much symbolism.
Yes.
And I say, but when you start doing this on your own, you just go with how it feels to you. It doesn't matter what I said. This is just a little starting point to get you thinking about it. It's your interpretation. And it's like whenever you read a sacred text, it's your interpretation because, like you said earlier, it meets you where you are now.
Yes.
And just relax and understand that if you allow spirit to help, they will, but you got to let go of it. Right. And I'm working on this new idea that I just got the other day. And again, it may not be based in reality, but it's a theory anyway.
Listen, it's fine.
There was a time when we walked so close to spirit that it was like them being next to us. And then as civilization develops and people start wanting to be in charge and rules and all of that stuff, our knowing that we could get that close to spirit is erased. And I wonder if they just don't, if they walk that close, and that maybe by acknowledging that, we can hear them more clearly and know that they're there to help. But also I want to say, if you've worked on this and you're not convinced of it, go look at something else for a while. The first time I sat in trance, we did direct voice in the chapel, and it was Don Dugar, and he was like this real big guy. And he goes, "Hi, this is White Lily." And I thought,
oh, you're right. Weird. Right.
And then I didn't get out of, because they lock the doors when we do direct voice. And so we were over in the cathedral, and White Robinette was doing it, and I didn't get out in time. So I had to sit through his. The third time it was Shirley Strogey over in the chapel, and she brought my grandfather through, and I was all over it then. It was like somebody had to show me that it was real, and spirit did. Yeah. And so if it's not for you now, it doesn't matter. Move on to something that is for you now. And maybe you'll circle back to that, and maybe you won't.
Maybe you won't.
Yeah, maybe you won't. It doesn't matter.
Not everything
your spiritual life the way that feels good for you.
Right.
Yeah. Power to the people. Right on.
What she said. I love it. Well, Susan, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me. I always love sharing your energy and sharing space with you and learning from you. And I'm looking forward to being able to take more classes from you in the future. I've only taken a few at Camp Chesterfield. And I mean, I've been in development classes for like 6 years, but finally just now stepping into the space of making a point together classes.
I'm putting together a history of Camp Chesterfield for October week long.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually setting aside that week to be able to be immersed
Do
in that
you
again.
know who's putting up who's in charge of the Friends of Chesterfield? Do you know?
Is it Cheryl? Is it? I think it's Cheryl Ann. I don't know if she's in charge of it or if she's just doing all the things for it, but I'm pretty sure.
You know, they're coming up with like there was a post today about Barbara Loft's house next to the cafeteria, and I wondered where they were getting those old pictures. I got to do some research.
Okay, so she's actually, I was thinking she's just they're just reposting our stuff on Camp Chesterfield because Shiloh posted that. That's me.
Shiloh. Okay. Yeah.
Shiloh.
I will talk to Shiloh. I know that he had talked to Todd Leonard a whole bunch,
Yes.
and he was real interested in the history. So I'm going to have to get with him and see where he's finding his stuff.
Yeah, I think he said they're IUPUI or whatever that's called now.
IU has a bunch of digital stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've looked on there. So
yeah, ask him because he's been really good about he'll look stuff up and then go to the real house and take some video and pictures. So yeah, he's been doing that.
I love that stuff.
We try to
love it.
I know. We try to do it once a week. We'll do something fun like that. And it boosts the engagement. And then everybody goes, oh, look, there's other things happening. Mm-hmm. So we're learning things and we're getting to see what's happening.
Yeah, so. I love that. I love the history. It's just so fascinating.
Me too. And I'm looking forward to learning more about the history because I've actually trans-channeled a couple people that I didn't know because I'm so ignorant about the history. But then everyone else in the room's like, you know who you just trans-channeled, right? I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. And then they lay it out for me like, oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. So I'm on the fence. Like, do I really want to know everything or do I just want to keep trans-channeling people I don't know and make it more fun and make it a surprise? You know what I mean? I don't have to decide. I do. I feel like if I'm going to get that certification, I have to take the history anyway. But it's been really fun learning about all the mediums that have come and gone.
People, they're wacky. I mean, Suzanne was larger than life. Whenever she and her husband would have a fight and we'd come to class, she'd give us stuff from her house because she was mad at Paul. And I said to her one day, I'm waiting for you to give me your Cadillac.
Right? Quit with the knickknacks. Come on.
Yeah, give me the Cadillac. But I learned lots of things from her, and it was wonderful.
I love it. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show. And for all of you on TikTok, thank you all for hanging in and listening to the conversation. Next week, we're going to have Ruthie on, and she'll be on she'll be on all the platforms. So make sure you guys are setting your calendar for the Crown Medium for next Thursday from 10 to noon Eastern time as well. And we'll make sure we put all the information for Susan, where you guys can find her in the chat as well. And somebody had asked about online classes. And yes, we do have online classes at Camp Chesterfield. All kinds of cool stuff. There's distance. They call it distance learning is what they call it. So distance learning as well as in-person stuff. And thank you again, Reverend Susan. It's so amazing to have you on the show. And
thank you, Miss Lorenda.
That's Her Highness to you. I'm kidding.
Oh, sorry.
So, all right. I'm going to play my fun little silly outro. And I'm going to have you hang out, Susan. And when this is all over, I'll bounce you back in. So just hang tight. Thank you all for hanging out. And
thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Your time in the realm of the crowned medium is cherished. Her Highness Lorenda Carr encourages you to like, subscribe, comment, and follow on all channels to stay updated on new episodes and offerings.